Well, since 2003, the Lieutenant Dan Band continues its mission to uplift and celebrate our nation's defenders, veterans, and their families. Later this month, they will begin their latest tour across the United States to spread honor, gratitude, and rock and roll to our nation's bravest and their families once again. And joining us now is award-winning actor and humanitarian, our dear friend, the great Gary Sinise. You know, Gary, I love you. You do so many wonderful things. Before we get to the band, you also recently volunteered to serve food for the FDNY fire station. This was Ladder Crew 8 in Midtown Manhattan as part of your Serving Heroes program. You also, I saw, were at Walter Reed. What does this mean to you? And you're also doing so many layers with the fire department as well. And you gave some fire trucks too, so you're a busy guy.
Well, thanks, Rita. Yeah, our first responders, they're working hard. We can't forget what they've been through. I got involved with the FDNY after September 11th and started supporting them back then and have ever since. And our Serving Heroes program that you're seeing there right now, this is a program that I'm sure you've picked up the tab occasionally for some service members in a restaurant or something like that. And
I have picked up many, by the way.
Yeah.
I have picked up many, and I always do it. I love doing that.
I made a practice of doing that over the years. And when I started my foundation, I wanted, so much of the motivation for my foundation came from the service members in my own family. And many of those were Vietnam veterans. And when they came home from war and were serving during that conflict, it was a really tough time for them. And they didn't get the services or the support or the welcome home that they deserved. So I learned a lot from the Vietnam veterans in my family. When we started deploying to Afghanistan and Iraq, I wanted to do something to make sure that our service members, our first responders, knew that we appreciated them, knew that we were thinking about them. Somebody like me who's on television, in a TV series or in movies or something, showing up at a firehouse or a military base or something and serving some food and playing some music, that can change the whole mood. That can lift people up. And so I just started doing that. And then when I created the foundation, we made it a program. Serving Heroes is a program. We've served well over 1 million meals all across the country and overseas at military bases and firehouses, police stations, whatever, just to make sure that our defenders know that we care about them, we appreciate them, what they're doing. And that's what I do with the band too. The band is all about just going to spots and lifting people up with the music and letting them know that we're grateful and we don't forget. We forgot our Vietnam veterans, as you well know, and we, a lot of them suffered and struggled because of that. We don't want that to ever happen again to somebody who's going to raise their hand and put on the uniform and go defend us. We want them to know that regardless of whether, you agree with the deployment or not, the nation's citizens respect you and appreciate you and are grateful for you for volunteering to serve our country. So that's what we do at the Gary Sinise Foundation each and every day.
Yeah, you definitely do. And you talked about the band. I see your guitar. It was over there right behind you. And you are so, where is that? You got to bring it in the scene, Gary. You got to bring it here. I love it.
Right, sure.
Can't just be a prop.
One of my bases here.
Yes, and I've seen you perform. You're awesome. You are going to be performing. Of course, you're starting a new tour, the Lieutenant Dan Band, bringing so much joy to our troops with that great guitar and singing. June 13th, right? Fort Riley, Kansas. You're also going to be swinging by Breezy Point in Queens, in New York on July 11th. Tell us what it means when you can bring joy through rock and roll, through your music.
Oh gosh, when I started doing it, it was so much fun to see people having such a good time in far off places. One of the first tours we did was well over 20 years ago, and it was to one of the most remote bases that we have out there. It's called Diego Garcia. It's down in the Indian Ocean, and it's very hard to get to. And that was the first tour that I went on. And at that time, my band was pretty rough and pretty ragged. We were, I was an actor just doing some acting and stuff. And I, used to play bass, so I put some musicians together. We started doing it. But regardless of whether the music was as good as it is now in the band or anything like that, the people that were there, the military folks, were having such a good time, and it really lifted them up to know that somebody that they recognized from the movies or something like that took the time to go and visit them in a remote spot. And I've been to the war zones and all of that kind of thing. And each and every time it just makes me want to go back and do it again. So we're, within the next few months, we're going to play our 600th show for the mission, for the military.
Wow.
And yeah, we'll be at Fort Riley next weekend. We're in Dayton at Wright-Patterson doing a big air show there. The following weekend, we're in Indiana at one of our military bases there. The night after, we're going to, as you said, we'll be at Breezy Point for a big sort of veterans support concert. July 11th, we have a big veterans concert in Illinois on July 12th. Then we're going up to Fort McCoy on July 13th, doing a big thing for everybody up at Fort McCoy. So we keep doing it. The people that donate to the Gary Sinise Foundation are helping me do this. They allow me to be able to employ my band members, put up the stage, put up the lights, put up the sound, and for me to show up and give some joy to our defenders. So thank you to the American people for donating to the Gary Sinise Foundation. That's just one of our programs. Serving Heroes is another one, and we have multiple programs.
Yep.
All to just raise spirits and lift people up and let them know they're appreciated.
Which you definitely do, my friend. Real quick, we just have a little bit left, but also coming up, President Trump, he's going to be holding this big military parade, I'm sure you heard, in the nation's capital next weekend, June 14th. It's celebrating the Army's 250th birthday. It's also his birthday. It's Flag Day. This is going to be an amazing display of American patriotism. How beautiful is this when you see this? Just the red, white, and blue. You just got through Memorial Day weekend, which you played such a huge role. How important is this for all Americans to just show support for our military and love of our country, Gary?
Well, it's very, very important. Quite often, these defenders that you're seeing, they're soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, reserve, guard, Coast Guard. They're out there doing this every single day, keeping us safe and being ready in case something happens. They're constantly training. They get deployed and they go away from their families, as you well know, during the height of Afghanistan and Iraq. I mean, we had people that had deployed 9, 10 times over a 15, 20-year period. And that's, if you have young children and you're gone from them that much, you're missing their entire childhood, sacrificing in service to our country to do it. So those kinds of things I don't take for granted. I want our defenders to know how much they're appreciated. That's why I created the Gary Sinise Foundation. That's why we have multiple programs that serve their needs. We build homes for our wounded. We do all kinds of things. But most importantly, they should just know how appreciated they are and that we don't forget. Even if they're off the front page, they're not, there's not, in conflict or whatever. They are out there doing the job. And they're deploying. We have people in harm's way right now.
Yes.
And we continue to have people getting hurt. And I don't want them to think that we don't care about that and we don't appreciate that.
Yeah, we love our military so much. I know how much you do, Gary. Can't wait to hopefully see you back up here in New York soon. And thank you for all you're doing.
You got to come to Breezy Point.
Oh, I would love to. If I'm your guest, I'm coming, Gary. How's that?
Come on out and rock out with us. That'll be great.
Well, I'll at least be a backup singer. I don't think I'll be a lead singer, but I'll be a backup singer.
Okay.
Gary, thank you very much. It's so great to see you. And everybody give to the Gary Sinise Foundation. Does so much great work, incredible work for all of our first responder heroes and our military. Thank you. Love you, my friend. Keep up the great work.
Thanks so much, Rita. Have
Thank
a good
you. You too.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.